Every spring, Spike and I head out for 3 weeks of moto camping, and this year we're heading to the east coast of Canada. We were looking for some maritime hospitality and to soak up the beauty along the Atlantic coast. But we had to get there first. There's over 1,500 kilometers between the center of the universe and St. John, New Brunswick. We also have to battle strong winds, ride through rain and fog, and deal with New Brunswick's brutal roads. But it all comes together. We visit friends and make new ones. We see incredible landscapes, lighthouses, and picturesque villages. And of course, in true Canadian fashion, we meet bear and moose. In the end, we overcame everything Mother Nature threw at us, and we had an amazing trip. It's a good one. Join us.
Under the blood-stained sky.
As predicted by our good friends at Environment Canada, I rolled out of the driveway at 10 a.m. into a steady rain, embracing a 7 degrees Celsius. It never got warmer than 11 for the entire 550-kilometer haul to Kempville. Still raining, classic tiger coward weather. Thankfully, I'm spending a couple nights with my amazing friends Al, Karen, and their awesome cat, Bandit. Big thanks to them for their warm hospitality after that cold ride. Day 2 and it's still raining. So fast forward to day 3 and I was off to Brockville for the MotoGP race with Rick and Don. The sun finally came out. Then I cruised into Montreal just as Spike was elbow deep in the first oil change on his shiny new 2025 V-Strom 650. We saw the sun today and it actually stuck around all day long. After days of gloom, it felt like someone finally turned the lights back on. We left Spike's place in Verdun around 9:30 a.m., heading south out of Montreal on the highway. Traffic was light, the bikes were humming, and the scenery just kept getting better the closer we got to Sherbrooke. For lunch, well, we went full Quebec, Benny and Company. The rotisserie chicken chain might as well be the provincial restaurant of record. I leaned in with a poutine on the side. Was it amazing? Nah, but it did the job. Then we fueled the bikes. $1.54 a liter for regular. Come on, Quebec, that's not cool. From Sherbrooke, it was all 2-lane back roads, rolling hills, endless forests, and a steady stream of postcard towns. Nothing dramatic, just one of those days where riding is exactly what it's supposed to be. We stopped for gas in Saint-Justine around 3:30. Just as we were about to start looking for a place to camp, a couple on a Harley rolls up beside us and says, "Follow us." And just like that, they led us on 30 minutes of the prettiest riding of the day. Twisty, green, and glowing in a perfect late afternoon light. They took us to a hidden little campground that wasn't even on our radar. We set up camp, busted out some dollar store pho bowls. Don't judge us, they were great. And then we relaxed by the fire. It dropped to 4 degrees overnight, but we woke up to a postcard morning. Clear skies, a campfire, and some good strong tea to bring our frozen souls back to life. We took our time breaking camp because the office at this little Saint Philemon campground didn't open until 9. When it finally did, the owners greeted us with a smile. We went to pay, and they waved us off. They said that most people leave early and skip out on paying. We appreciate your honesty. What a great way to start the day. It wasn't about the free stay. It was about the reminder, doing the right thing still counts. From Saint Philemon, we rolled through curving hills for a couple hours, light traffic, cool air. By the early afternoon, we hit Route 132 along the mighty St. Lawrence River. I've ridden this road before on the way back from Newfoundland, and it's still a stunner.
Oh, it smells good. It's salty air. Is the St. Lawrence salty up here?
It's salty all the way to Quebec City.
Really? I did not know that. Awesome. Tide's out. Oh, what a great place. We'll get the picture with the church in the background of our two bikes parked side by side. Oh, that's a cute little place. What a cute little downtown street. Downtown nowhere. Oh, the church is for sale. Want to buy a church, Mike? I've never had a church before. Look at the grade of this corner. Who built their house there? That's awesome. Oh, there's a big cross at the Belvedere. This is Trey cool.
The topography is so unique in this area. You have the St. Lawrence River on your left-hand side, then flat fields that stretch all the way out to the rocky outcrops on the right. But it isn't the topography that excites me about this area. It's the beautiful little towns. They're so quaint and pretty.
We just crossed Rivière de Loup and we are heading south on Route 289. But now we're heading south towards the Maine border. We'll stay in Canada and skirt the border all the way across to New Brunswick. This is one of the beautiful little villages that we've come through today. It's got a huge long name that I would mispronunciate, so I will look it up for you and put it on the screen. I'm pretty sure the name is after a Pokemon character, but I might be wrong on that. We'll have to check. I'm not sure what the river's name is. Do you know it, Spike? Oh, that's the St. John River, dividing New Brunswick from Maine.
At Camping Edmundston, I whipped up a camping classic, Shipwreck Casserole, and invited the solo cyclist across from us, Tim from Vancouver Island. We had a great talk over dinner. That's one of the perks of this kind of travel. Strangers don't stay strangers for long. We got a fire going and watched the hockey game. Another great day on the road. Unusually, Spike slept in. And when he finally stirred, he was greeted by brilliant sunshine. It dropped to 5 degrees overnight, but things warmed up fast.
I read that sign as deer fed eggs as well, but I think it's deer feed and eggs, or deer feed and egg. Deer fed eggs. Yeah, our chickens eat nothing but the finest venison. Here I am heading east on Highway 108 New Brunswick, and we just picked this road because of how curvy it is, and we're riding around in the sunshine having fun.
Today's goal, a quick 2-hour ride to see my nephew and his wife in Juniper. Naturally, we turned it into a 450-kilometer, 6-hour detour. We headed east into the bush, bouncing along the scenic and very bumpy Highway 108 to Renouse.
Oh, it's just a little one. Hi, baby. That means his mom's around here somewhere. Okay, I'm gonna make a quick U-turn here. Oh, he's crossing the road. Oh, he stopped right in the middle of the road looking at me. Alright, he just took off into the bush.
Full props to the New Brunswick Ministry of Transportation for their passionate commitment to the coal patch. I don't think we saw a single inch of original asphalt in 200 kilometers.
Oh, look at these hills. Are these the Appalachians, Michael?
From Renouse, the GPS took us west on Road 655, an unmaintained gravel track that at points felt more like a trail than a road. Wild and a lot of fun.
Oh, those are big rocks, big potholes. All right. Ooh, it gets pretty steep here too. Oh, you got to give her to get up the other side, Mike.
It was getting late, and just after I mentioned to Spike that we should look out for wildlife, we saw 2 moose. The first one, I let you down as a YouTuber. I put the brakes on before I put the camera on. You can just see them. It was 31 degrees when we rolled into Juniper. Owen and Chelsea greeted us with a seafood boil fit for royalty. The night ended oddly. The whole county lost power. Still no lights by bedtime. But after a day like that, it's hard to complain. The power was still out, so we battled blackflies while loading the bikes and rode to Britt's store for some caffeine salvation. Brittany, the owner, is a classic New Brunswick character. She runs a shop that sells groceries, booze, hardware, ammo, you name it. We didn't get far before spotting a moose calf standing calm in the road. This time I remembered, record first, brake second.
Hi, baby. This is where she said you have to look for the mom. Okay. First moose of the day. Something I don't normally say. Patch on this road, man. It's everywhere. And I'm not sure if it's because they just have harsh weather here or they do a crappy job of originally laying it down.
We stuck to the back roads until we hit Fredericton, New Brunswick's charming little capital. Southbound, we meandered through farmland, over rivers by ferry, and even found a roadside spring where we filled up our bottles like proper rustic wanderers.
The St. John River overflowing its banks into the most beautiful farmland you can find. Woo-hoo! What a great day. Every time I see a horse in the field, I think it's a moose. I wonder who planted all those trees in the middle of the river. Avondale Ferry. Oh, there's a couple of motorcycles here. cable ferry across the St. John River. Funny enough, my GPS just told me to leave the ferry. I think I need to change the sensitivity because we're not quite there yet. Oh, we're gonna go on another ferry now. Yeah, I don't understand. We just got to this side of the river following Road 124. We follow it along, and it looks like on the map that we're going back across the river. How pretty is this? What? Don't go across the middle there. You get your wheels stuck in there. Wave to the adoring fans.
Our next stop was Sussex, to visit Muzzie's sister and her husband. Great folks in a barn full of cattle. Is there anything better than getting your hand licked by a curious cow? Yeah, there is. Having a big feast with wonderful people. We didn't end up staying long because we had a date with the Tale of Sussex. Actually, it's the Creek Road. Tight curves, rolling hills, and it lived up to every memory we had from last time. We ended the day camping at Fundy National Park. It was a cool night at 10 degrees, but somehow the blackflies were still thriving. Tenacious little bastards. I love you all. Good night from the Bay of Fundy.
Here we are leaving Fundy National Park, or at least the campground. Those tents were $100 and we should have got one last night.
Every great moto adventure eventually smacks into weather, and for the first time in a week I woke up without the sun warming the tent. We camped just 100 meters from the Bay of Fundy, wrapped in a mist so thick it might as well have been raining. Luckily, Parks Canada knows the drill and built an excellent kitchen shelter. As we moved our gear in, some friendly staff pointed us to some leftover firewood. I fired up the stove and dried out our gear. After drying up a little bit, we rolled into Alma for brunch. Alma is a charming seaside town cleverly disguised as a tourist trap. I shelled out $30 for a gluten-free lobster roll. And honestly, it was totally worth it. It was delicious.
Octopus's Garden. That's where we're going for lunch. Under the sea, in the octopus's garden, in the shade. What a cute little place this is. I love it.
Shout out to the Aussie server who moved like a stand-up comic on triple espresso. If you're ever in Alma, tell him Tiger says, "G'day."
Whoever built this road is a genius. I just love it. Oh yeah, there's just a little one. What's the signal for to other bikers for deer?
Fed but somewhat fogged, we roll back through the Fundy National Park to the Fundy Trail Parkway only to discover that it's a toll road. Since we couldn't see the bay, we bailed and rode back to the Tale of Sussex instead.
Alright. Every motorcyclist's favorite sign. This road is awesome. Oh, there's a good bump there, Spike. This is steep, man.
We ended our day in Hampton, New Brunswick, welcomed by adventure bikers Dave and Sherry, friends we met years ago on the Rock.
Tiger Sherry is in front of us.
That evening, spicy twisties along the coast and a visit to the sea caves at St. Martin's and top-tier fish and chips.
Oh, the covered bridge over there. St. Martin's, how cute is this? Oh, Barb would love it around here. Oh, wow. You're so awesome.
Am I awesome?
Yeah. Two covered bridges in one town. St. Martin's. Very cool. Cheese. New Brunswick is an awesome place to ride a motorcycle. Holy smokes, 3 days, and every day so far we've just encountered wonderful curvy roads. So cool, look at this. And here we cross the Tyne Bridge. It's a little different than the one the Geordies built. Covered bridge, New Brunswick style.
The cherry on top? Moto legend Jo A joined the ride. She's an online friend and knows Dave and Sherry too. I love it when the moto worlds collide. Today was a total washout. Environment Canada called it, and they were right. But even in the rain, we couldn't stay cooped up. We headed into St. John for a bit of sightseeing. Sherry, a former professional tour guide, gave us a VIP insider tour. Honestly, I learned more from her in one afternoon than I would have ever expected.
Where Pete's Fruitique was.
This was Pete's Fruitique on CBC Uptown St. John. We have a statue of Sir Samuel Leonard Tilley, and he is known for designing one of the greatest summer hats ever.
On the way back, we stopped at Snow's Soft Serve and Ice Cream. Now Tiger Barb says I exaggerate, but I swear this might be the best ice cream shop on the planet. I woke up to the glorious smell of bacon. Dave was already on it. As we ate, we compared weather apps. I saw rain. Dave called it fake news, but it wasn't. By 3 o'clock, the skies were still gray, but we saddled up anyway. Jo A returned, and the four of us were led by Sherry on a 3-ferry tour.
Right now we got Jo A. Here we are loading the Belle Isle Ferry. How do you have water are we crossing here?
This is Belle Isle Bay.
Belle Isle Bay, on a river or does it go to the ocean?
St. John River.
On the St. John River, okay, cool. I do love the flowering crabapple trees around here, man. Ooh, the boat is a rockin'.
Don't come a knocking if the ferries are on.
I think I know why they say New Brunswick is great adventure bike country. And it's because if you don't have an adventure bike, you don't have the clearance on the roads. The amount of bumps and patches and stuff, I'm thinking if you're in a hardtail, you'd end up in the hospital. It's shining, it's a balmy 14.5 degrees. Who knew?
Steep grades, river valleys, and winding roads. It was Appalachian riding with a maritime charm. Dinner was at Reed's Point Pub. Yes, I had fish and chips again. Don't judge me. This is the Maritimes. It's basically required. We wrapped up the night by watching Son of a Critch and had big laughs. Tomorrow we head out of New Brunswick. Our ferry's cancelled due to high winds, so we'll ride around the Bay of Fundy instead. Our destination is Murphy Lake. I'll be reconnecting with an old friend and former football captain Peter McLeod. Thanks for riding along, friends. I say it every time, and I mean it every time. I love you all.
Who knew that a chance encounter at a Newfoundland campsite would turn into a friendship like this?
3 years ago, we met Dave and Sherry by chance at a campground in Newfoundland. Today, we're parting as lifelong friends. That's what Moto travel does. It finds your people. Spike and I headed out into the sunshine. 14 degrees and clear skies. Beautiful hilly farmland, almost no traffic. Our ferry was cancelled, so we had to ride around the Bay of Fundy and across the Chignecto Isthmus. We crossed into Nova Scotia with a side of gale force wind. That same wind that cancelled our ferry tried to slap us off the road.
What an absolutely fabulous tourist info stop here. Lots of people to help you inside, a bagpiper. It's a beautiful place altogether. Well done, Nova Scotia. We're off the Trans-Canada Highway and now on Nova Scotia 302. And we're taking this south to Parsboro. And it's a little less windy down here than it was right on the edge of the bay. So pretty.
Lunch was in Parsboro. Same harborside haddock and scrambled eggs that I had in 2022. Still a 10 out of 10.
Tide is out, which is a shame because I really want to sing Blondie's The Tide is High. Downtown Parsboro, home of Sherry King. I think that's what it said on the sign. That's a totally 1967 looking band shell, eh?
Heads up, Moto friends, Nova Scotia Highway 2 between Parsboro and Truro is pure gold. Mark it on your map. We had plans to push to Murphy Lake, but took the wiser path and stayed at the Maitland family campground. Mike, the owner, rides to, and rented us a cozy cabin for $40, and we swapped motorcycle stories by the fire. Dinner was boil in the bag gourmet with several bald eagles for company and ocean winds for dessert. We called it an early night and we slept like babies. Nova Scotia 215 was today's crown jewel. This is the southern portion of the Glooscap Trail scenic roadway. Spike says it's his favorite road so far. We hit Burnt Coat Head Park, home to the highest tides on earth. The place was stunning. Waves, cliffs, and a coastline that stretches your soul out a bit.
One of the men got too close to the fire and set his coat ablaze. Sounds like my socks. Burnt coat, man. That's pretty lame.
That's it.
Yeah.
They call it burnt coat because the guy got too close to the fire and burned his coat? Come on now, people. Now we have risk of drowning signs at the ocean? Get your gear together. We are at Burnt Coat and the Burnt Coat Park, home of the highest tides in the world, measured up to 16.5 meters. Tide comes in and out every 6 hours and 13 minutes. And today they're expecting a tide of somewhere around 13 meters. So beautiful, so cool. Oh, we could have ridden down right onto the beach there, Mike. And get stuck. This is the Walton Historic Lighthouse. We are at the Walton Historic Lighthouse and Lookout, and it is so peaceful and beautiful here. I've never come across the south shore of the Bay of Fundy, but I wouldn't miss it. It is fantastic. Highly recommend you take it. Barely fit through here.
It's a small space.
This is a totally small space. Like, barely fit. We're up in the top of the lighthouse. I'm being a little claustrophobic. I don't love it. To be honest, the view isn't much better than it is from down there.
We had lunch in Windsor, Nova Scotia, the birthplace of hockey. I had fish and chips again, this time at Lisa's family restaurant. The fish? It was great. The chips? You get a game misconduct for serving me frozen French fries. I respect you, Lisa's, but fish and chips, like hockey, is a team game.
Ooh. I was following you. Sea cows. Trendy. Pretty. The King's Arms Commons. Oh, I could find myself lost in this place. Lovely. Oh, look at the old theater. The Acadia. Nice. There we go. For the home of the Axemen. Wow, that is an impressive building there.
We cruised through Wolfville. Acadia University was basking in the sun like it was posing for a tourism ad. This place is uber cute. Then we raced up Highway 358 to Scotts Bay. I'm calling this the Tale of the Wolf. Sorry, dragon folks.
This is Scott's Bay and at Scott's Point. That is so beautiful.
A great day of exploration ended at Murphy Lake. There I was reunited with my old friend Peter McLeod, a football legend and fellow adventurer. We had a hot tub under the mosquitoes and the stars. A perfect ending, except I noticed a small oil leak from the cam cover. It didn't appear serious, but the tiger has always been tight. This will cause me some anxiety.
Absolutely fantastic visit with Peter at Murphy Lake. Now we're heading out to the coast, right down the Bay of Fundy towards Digby. And if all goes well, I'll be having a peanut butter parfait at the Digby Dairy Queen. Get one last look at Murphy Lake.
We started the day in the hot tub because yes, adventure moto can be roughing it, but not today. We had a hearty breakfast from Peter and then back on the road under 20 degrees sunshine and blue skies. We hugged the Fundy coast through some of Nova Scotia's finest scenery, winding through the Annapolis Valley. This is moto touring at its best.
Oh, how pretty is that out there? Digging clams in the tidal basin. Very cool. We are pulling into Sandy Cove on the Digby Neck. Highly recommended by Peter McLeod. Oh, this is so cute. Haha, Jen's Alimony. What a great name for a boat.
The good news? The oil leak wasn't any worse, but it's still there, so I'm still heading to Halifax Triumph to get it looked at.
We are just setting up camp in Saulnier, and Brenda and Al, the proprietors, are super nice. We're the only ones here, as you can see, and we're gonna camp right out on the edge of the ocean. Should be freezing cold tonight.
Last night, Spike and I scored an invite to watch Game 1 of the Stanley Cup Final in a warm garage, courtesy of Al, the friendly host of Rest Ashore Campground. Let me tell you, watching the hockey on a big screen indoors beats freezing our butts off around a phone screen at 8 degrees. Thanks, Al. The top 3 things to do in Yarmouth: visit the lighthouse, photograph the lighthouse, and tour the lighthouse. We did 2 out of 3, and like Meatloaf said, that ain't bad.
That sign says storm warning, waves across the road, which is something you just don't see in Grey County. We have come off Highway 3 out of Yarmouth. We are following the side roads called the Lighthouse route. And so far it's been pretty scenic. There's been some cool vistas and some massive churches The Acadians love their churches.
We followed Highway 3 along Nova Scotia's south shore. This is the Lighthouse route. Ocean on one side, twisties through forests on the other. It was a perfect ride, ranging from a brisk 15 degrees near the coast and a sweaty 25 degrees inland. Bonus points to the fearless Nova Scotia women sunbathing at 15 degrees. You're tougher than me. Highlight of the day, a surprise encounter with a swordfish harvester who gave us a deep dive into fishing the continental shelf. Generous, funny, and full of stories. I could have listened to this guy all day. We made it to Hubbard's Beach Campground. Hubbard's Beach is beautiful. The campground looks like something out of the trailer park boys. But hey, it's close to APD Power Sports. Tomorrow the Tiger gets checked out for that oil leak.
We are in Hubbard's Beach. How pretty is this?
Well, I woke up to the classic old man calf cramp. You know, the type that always shows up uninvited when you're on a camping trip. Thunder rolled in and the rain poured down as I packed up. So I hid out in the campground laundrette waiting for the time to pass so that I arrived when APD Power Sports opened. But that ride to Halifax, absolutely stunning. If you're anywhere near Highway 3, ride it and thank me later. I got to APD early and ducked into the Labor Day Cafe next door. And guess who rolled in? Jo A. Back for tires and full of generosity. She made sure I got seen first. You're a legend, Jo. Thank you.
Here I am at APD Power Sports in Halifax. And I've got oil leaking from up in there, and it's hard to see. Lisa and Adrian were absolute legends. Adrian sprayed down the area with the oil on it with brake cleaner to see how much was actually there. And he said it was just a minor coating. And said, keep an eye on it, look at your oil levels, and take it back to Maxim when I get back, because it was probably when they did my valves that this has created the issue. Anyway, all good, back on the road. Every corner is a postcard on Peggy's Cove Road, eh? And Highway 3, oh, so nice. It's so popular that they have a scoreboard there for parking.
Then it was off to Peggy's Cove. Beautiful but overrun. Tour buses, RVs, the works. We made a loop and then bailed. Instead, we rode Nova Scotia 333, 306, and 349. Every bend revealed a new postcard perfect cove or harbor. Skip Peggy's Cove, ride these instead.
We're on the 306 heading south from Halifax. I'll do a loop tour down to the ocean and back. What a road this is. Right at the end of the road. Pretty place for a church. All right, the day went like this today. I went down to APD Power Sports. They looked at my bike and said, don't worry. So that's kind of awesome. Adrian and Lisa, you are legends. Thank you so much for looking after the Tiger for me. It's day 16 of the East Coast Adventure, and we're leaving the greater Halifax region right now. We're on the road at 8:30 and it's an overcast 14 degrees. Looks like it's going to be a fun day along the south shore of Nova Scotia. Let's go.
We were in search of some beauty, and we found it. We were spending most of the day on Highway 7 and 207, and it's gorgeous, an all-day kind of ride. Every curve begged for a photo stop, and the fog just added to the mystique. Our first stop was the Marmalade Cafe in Sheet Harbor. Amazing food, great staff, and Brittany, who served us breakfast on her birthday. What a small world. She's from back home at the center of the universe.
Thank you, brother. This road is to die for, though, eh? What a gem.
We kept moving east through Sherbrooke Village and down NS 211. We passed Moosehead, Ecum Secum, yes, that's a real name, and we turned on to Nova Scotia 316, and then that's when it got magical. From Isaacs Harbour to Guysborough, it might be the best ride ever. Fresh pavement, no traffic, few potholes, just bliss. According to the Higdon Fun Units formula, this one ranks very high.
I was laughing in my helmet, Spike. 316, Nova Scotia 316. Oh my God, is there a better road than that? We should go knock on the door here and tell these people how lucky they are. Excuse me, madam. Just want to let you know, we think you're really lucky for living here. Not sure what that work ship is. Canso Causeway. Probably the ugliest thing we've seen all day today. Welcome to Cape Breton. It's gonna rain tonight. Rain all night. So we got ourselves a motel room. Looks a bit iffy from the outside. But the lobby was nice. 10:54, 15 degrees, cloudy and gray. We're just coming into Port Hood, the self-proclaimed capital of Cape Breton. Temperatures dropped to 12.5 degrees, and it looks like we're catching up to the storm by the wet roads.
We packed up and rolled out at about 11, just as the sun started poking through the clouds, for about 10 minutes. When we got on Highway 19, the wind picked up and the fog rolled in and the temperature dropped like a stone.
It is getting windy. We're getting hit from both sides with gusts of wind at the top of that mountain. I see the trees blowing around. How'd you like that, Spike? It got crazy coming over the crest of that hill.
By the time we hit Inverness, we needed a break. Spike had an adequate coffee and I had a disappointing tea. Robin's Donuts was warm and the locals were chatty, probably because we were the only tourists mad enough to be out on a day like this.
Well, it is cold and miserable as we leave Inverness. Fog is coming in. It's down to 12 degrees. I suppose that's what it was when we went in, but I feel better. I got my insulated gloves and heated gloves on, and I put my heated jacket on underneath, although I don't have it turned on right now. We talked to some guys in Robin's Donuts, and they told us meet Cove. It was only 8 degrees. Can't tell right now whether it's actually raining or we're just in such deep fog that it feels like rain. We're down at the bottom right now, and you can see as we're coming up the hill that we're going right into the clouds. We're just approaching the Cabot Trail, and the world famous views might be obscured to us by the fog. We shall see. And I'm standing up, but I don't see any whales. It'll be hard to pick them out today with all the white caps up there. Ooh, I shouldn't have stood up. That heated seat is on. And now I got a cold pump. Margaret Harbor. 5 houses and a church. The Cape Bretoners aren't as hardy as those mainland women who are down sunbathing. Although, to be fair, there's no sun. I thought we could get down by where those boats are, but I guess that's that's on the other side. I couldn't tell. Oh, oh, the road ends. So this marks the beginning of the Cabot Trail, yes? Margaree Harbor Bridge. Look at that beauty. He is. He looked like a bald eagle. The offspring of a bald eagle and a seagull. Did you see how he took off? He just stood up. That is windy. Well, these guys are real adventurers. Riding along the shoreline like this in miserable gray conditions reminds me of my mom. Not because she's miserable and gray, she's lovely. But because she's from South Shields, and my dad would call this a Geordie summer. Geordie summer day. Gonna have to pull over and put my phone away and take the media mod off this camera because neither of those are waterproof.
At Shetty Camp, the fog turns into rain. The temperature drops to 8 degrees and I put in my contacts as we brace for the storm. Then we headed into Cape Breton's Highlands National Park. The fog was so thick it rolled over my windshield. Twisty mountain roads, maybe 2 meters of visibility, no exaggeration. We rode like that for over an hour and missed all the famous views. Honestly, it might have been the toughest riding I've ever done. The silver lining? All the new Brunswick blackflies are now washed off my bike. We ducked under the clouds and rode into Neil's Harbor, perhaps the cutest place in all of Cape Breton. And it doesn't seem to have changed at all since 1978, when I was here with my mom, dad, and my sister. We skipped Meat Cove. It was buried in cloud and rolled into Ingonish. I had pan-fried halibut at Coastal Waters. It was worth every penny of it.
Okay, it is 5 o'clock. We just had dinner in Ingonish. And it is cool and looks foggy, but we can see the top of the hills right now, so hopefully we'll stay out of that. Hey, with this wind, most of the fog is finally blown away. It took all day. But now we're outside of the national park. So the road is terrible. Inside the park, the feds have done a good job keeping it nice and clean and paved. And outside, the municipality really has some work to do, but the curves are awesome. Have a look at this road. Probably the worst road conditions we've seen in Nova Scotia. There is not a straight piece to this road. And that makes it super fun. Oh, there's a big bump. Oh, dear me. This is Cape Breton riding. This is what we came for, not all that fog. Wow, look at that. Hello, Atlantic Ocean. Yes, this is what we missed this morning, Spiker. I've still added a little bit of fog up the top there, as Bob Fosse would do when he's painting. Yeah, easy to come into these curves a little hot, eh? Oh, what a great piece of road. Look at this. Talk about a snake. We're now heading west. It is 6 o'clock. And we're on our way back to the mainland. The roads are just incredible this way. Well, I will say it for the 1000th time. Nova Scotia is pretty. As we cross the Bedeck River, this intersection here marks the end of the Cabot Trail.
We rolled into Wooden Park Campground in Antigonish around 8 o'clock. Antigonish is a gorgeous place, home to St. Francis Xavier University. Honestly, it's even more perfect than Acadia and Wolfville.
Here we are in Wooden Park, Antigonish, Nova Scotia. We're at this cute little, we think is a municipal campground. What do you think of yesterday's ride?
Yesterday was tough. We went Cabot Trail, but it was really foggy, the worst I've ever seen, and I could only see your taillights for part of the time.
Yeah, I think it's time for me to enhance my rear lighting system now, eh?
You disappeared on and off in the fog.
It was crazy. I don't think I've ever had conditions as tough as that.
Day 18 and it's Monday and we woke up to brilliant sunshine. It was already 15 degrees by the time we cruised down the charming main street of Antigonish. From there, we rode through the stunning campus of St. Francis Xavier University, easily one of the most beautiful in the country. St. FX is home of my cousin Jill Ford, scholarship student and all-round legend. But there was no time to linger. We had to catch the ferry to PEI. No reservation needed for motorcycles. We travel standby and for free.
We are loaded on the ferry, ready to go. I got Bill from Mississauga here on his hog, giving us the thumbs up. Spiker all tied down. Good to go.
And on Monday in June, it was smooth sailing. Just one other rider joined us, Bill from Mississauga who rolled on with us and stuck around for lunch. The crossing of the Northumberland Strait was calm and beautiful, with the red shores of PEI visible from halfway across.
All passengers, please return to your vehicles, and thank you for sailing with Northumberland Ferries.
After landing, we turned right and hugged the coast. Bill joined us on a scenic ride out to Murray Head. Great name, great view, and yes, I had one night in Bangkok stuck in my head for the rest of the afternoon.
Oh, I just saw there's a whale. Where? Up in the forest, dinkus. He just breached. No, it's not. It's just a sandbar.
It's just there, right?
Yeah, it's a sandbar.
We carried on past countless picturesque harbors, coves, and fishing ports, with stops in Souris and East Point. Somewhere along the way, we realized that Bill is just a solid human being. Naturally, we nicknamed him Nice Guy Bill. We parted ways at St. Peter's as he headed off to Summerside. Ride safe, Nice Guy Bill, hope our paths cross again. We spent the night at the St. Peter's campground. It should be called the Hillside Campground because there's not a level piece of ground in the whole place.
In Charlottetown for breakfast with Sula at 10 o'clock. 10:02 is our arrival time. Leaving St. Peter's, and it's 12.5 degrees, and the Spike is cold, aren't you, Spike? City of Charlottetown. The birthplace of Confederation.
Spike was enjoying PEI, but for me, riding through farmland feels like something I can do at home. So instead of moping about it, Spike agreed to cut the island short, even skipping his dream visit to the Anne of Green Gables Amusement Park and Museum. When we reached the Confederation Bridge, it was closed. A modular home was being transported to the island and blocked all the lanes. Thankfully, it was just a 45-minute delay before we were allowed to cross.
That is Spike getting back to the mainland. We did it. Like great explorers and adventurers, we drove across a bridge. And now I'm going to have my itchy boots moment. Welcome to New Brunswick! That makes me happy. Keeping with convention on this trip, we took the first right off the bridge, and we're riding with the ocean on our right-hand side. We'll do that all the way until we have to turn inland. Also keeping with convention, the New Brunswick roads are brutal. The route is good, but the road surface, it's a bit much. I'm gonna be sad to miss you, Atlantic Ocean. Not much time left. Oh, there, look at the size of that lobster. See that lobster there? Biggest lobster ever caught. It had to be culled because it actually ate 3 children. After having a Dairy Queen in Shediac, we decided to hit the slab and get north to Bathurst. We want to do that quickly because there's a big storm coming in at around 6 o'clock. So here we go up the Highway 11 in New Brunswick. Fabulous piece of road, actually. I have really enjoyed being in New Brunswick, and I think the number of river crossings and rivers is one of the best parts about being here. It's so charming and it adds such a nice look to the place. Love it. Here we go, the Miramichi River, one of the great rivers of the Miramichi region. The gateway to Miramichi. You know what they say, if you haven't crossed the Miramichi, you haven't been to Miramichi. Well, here we are at the Atlantic Host by Wyndham, and it is by far the nicest hotel room we've stayed in. This is no ratchet strap hotel. Look out there and see what we see. See the V-Strom and the Tiger with its raincoat on. We made it here just before it started raining.
It was bright and sunny this morning in Bathurst, New Brunswick, with a balmy 18 degrees to start the day. We wandered over to Timmy's where I tried the Ryan Reynolds signature sausage and egg bowl. It was surprisingly decent. Once we hit the road, we had a glorious ride into the New Brunswick wilderness on our way to St. Quentin. It was classic NB, hills, forests, curves, and absolutely no traffic. The town itself was forgettable, so we pressed on north to Campbellton. Great riding, more sunshine, and one expected laugh as we passed through the village of Atholville. Who knew New Brunswick was home of the Athols? We crossed the mighty Restigouche River on a beautiful bridge that entered La Belle Province. From there, we followed Route 132 along the Restigouche and Matapedia rivers all the way up to the St. Lawrence. It was breathtaking, the northernmost edge of the Appalachians serving up pure motorcycle magic. Of course, we couldn't stay on pavement all day, so we took a quick detour across a covered bridge and up a gnarly dirt road filled with steep switchbacks and loose rock. At the top, it narrowed to a logging trail, so we turned around and ripped back down. Half an hour of dirt felt better than a nap. As we push west towards Rivière-du-Loup, the winds picked up, strong headwinds with a bonus side smacks just to keep us alert. Today marked part one of my two-part ride home. We rode west under gray skies and strong winds again. True to the theme of this trip, we kept the water on our right, this time following the mighty St. Lawrence River. The geography along the south shore is pretty stunning. Dead flat farmland wedged between steep rocky hills and the river, dotted with adorable villages featuring towering churches and fairy tale homes.
On Route 132, you come across all of these fabulous little towns, and they all have beautiful little guest houses and motels. Generally, they're well kept and pretty. They all have a great big cathedral, usually a river to go over, and they're quaint and beautiful. Highly recommend it. So says me, who only ever drives through here. I actually never stop at any of these places, but they're all so gorgeous. Look at that church. It's now a museum. Oh, I've got a big crush on the south shore of the St. Lawrence. Très bien. Well, it's about as pretty as the last little village we went through. And probably just as pretty as the next village we're going to go through. And of course, just to our right, as for this whole trip, it's the St. Lawrence Seaway. Well, to our right hasn't been the St. Lawrence Seaway, it's been the ocean, but the ocean comes up here. So I'm giving myself a pass on that one. Oh, that's so cute. They're like gingerbread houses.
But the charm fades fast when the sprawl of Quebec City begins. We jumped on the slab and followed Route 20 all the way to Montreal. Wind and traffic ramped up as we approached the city. Spike was actually leaning to the right just to keep his V-Strom straight.
Let's go, Oilers. Still windy here in Montreal. My neck muscles are killing me.
Today, 2 became 1, and 1 is the loneliest number that you'll ever do. I set the alarm for 5:30 a.m. to get the jump on the Montreal traffic and start the long ride home. It was going to be 666 kilometers and 8 hours of saddle time. My route took me through Calabogie, not just fun to say, but also where the ride really begins. Just outside of town, off the Black Donald Road, I picked up Centennial Lake Road to Camel Chute. Do yourself a favor and plug it into your GPS. It's the best motorcycle road in Ontario. Spike says all great journeys must come to an end so that you can start planning the next one. And this one was an amazing journey with the best riding buddy a person could ever ask for. And I can't wait to the next one. So there you have it, friends. 3 great weeks in the Maritimes. I had such a good time even on the days when it rained. I highly recommend it. You should check out Canada's East Coast. Until our next journey, stay well and goodbye from the center of the universe. Go forth with an open mind and most importantly an open heart. And remember, self-care is not selfish. If you've stayed this long, you must have liked what you've seen, so please hit like, subscribe, leave me a comment, and share it with your friends. It doesn't cost you anything, but it helps out my little channel. Let's go.